All right. Speaking of unhappy people, CJGJ is unhappy with his role with the team. Chris, you want to play the video real quick of Dan Campbell speaking about this?
Yes, sir.
Coaching philosophy is you're direct and you're honest with your players about their situation. And sometimes it's not what they want to hear, but we saw that a little bit with Graham early in the season, right? He didn't really like the answer he got. Sounds like CJ's not particularly happy with what he's kind of been told about his maybe role immediately coming off injury here. So I'm just wondering how you deal with that as a coach when the news isn't what the player wants to hear. How do you keep everybody still rowing in the same direction?
Yeah, well, first of all, Duce is a competitor. I mean, he just is. I mean, he wants to play, and he wants to play every snap, and I appreciate that. I think we all do. So, but I think between myself and AG, when those come up and like that, we're just very direct. You tell it from the get-go, and here's why. And look, Ducey's a pro at the end of the day. He wants to play. He wants to be a part of it, and doesn't mean that he has to like it, but he's going to go out there and when he's on the field, he's going to give what he's got, and that's the most important thing. So I think as long as we're all open and direct with each other and they know where we're coming from and we know where they're coming from, you don't have to like it, but you respect it.
Does this also kind of fall into the Houston answer you just gave? Like, this is a guy coming off injury, maybe not rust, but there's an element of protecting them from themselves. This is a serious injury he was coming off of. Does that, factor into your decision-making process?
It does. I mean, you want to know, first of all, they need to have confidence in themselves, but you have to also be honest and open about it as a coach, looking at the player and saying they may be trying to talk themselves into it, but they're not there yet. And yeah, I think you got to be prepared to save them from themselves somewhat.
And then, so there's a couple quotes from CJGJ after the locker room sessions today. This is from him. It says, getting into a rotation, I'm cool with it. But how can I say this? I don't want to come off like selfish or like an asshole, but I ain't get back early to be in a rotation. The vet back. I'm going to give you a grace period, but after that, it's up. Nigga, please. But that ass, I don't like this.
I don't
man.
like it either. I don't like it either.
Makes me more comfortable from that kid's last name.
Yeah. I don't know what you just said.
Yeah, he's just like, who's with me?
I don't like it. I don't like it either. I think this is a team, Brad and Dan, and they have shown that it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your name is, doesn't matter what you've done in the past. Your play on the field is what gets you on the field. How you affect games is what gets you on the field. So yeah, it sucks for Ceedy Duce, and he might not want to be in a rotation. Well, you don't want to be in a rotation. Go out there and make it to where they can't take you off the field. Go out there and play so gosh dang well that they cannot remove you from that defense, that they cannot put someone else in your place because you're making plays, because you're taking the ball away, because you're delivering hits. That's how you have to do it. I understand the factor. You're the vet. You want to play. You've been in the playoffs. You've been to the Super Bowl. Well, the defense looked pretty good against Dallas. Ify Melifonwu's looked pretty damn good the time he's played out there. Brian Branch has looked pretty good the time he's played out there. You want to take one of their spots, go out there and take their spot. Play better. Make it to where the defensive coaches can't take you off the field.
For me, it's all right. I want to ask you this: do you think any of it has to do with I guess the fact that like you said in the second half of the question, like just kind of like withholding guys from hurting themselves?
Naysayer, please.
Because although he came back early, maybe he's more susceptible to get hurt in those situations. Like, you think it's a little bit of that, or you think he's just not up to par with if he's offering? And I mean, Branch in the same sense.
Wait, what do you mean?
So the second half of that question, he asked Dan Campbell, are you holding these guys partly to protect them from themselves? Mm-hmm. Like getting re-injured because coming back too early, obviously, that's more vulnerable. Do you think it's halfway that? Or?
I think that's what he's talking about, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. And I just the reason why it concerns me, there's a little bit of a concern, is because he's such an opinionated person, right? Like everything before we even known him as a Detroit Lion. You remember him getting in a squabble with Michael Thomas. Mm-hmm. He got in a fight with the Bears defensive back. And he's
wide receiver.
He's widely regarded as like the best trash talker. He's very vocal. He's also like a leader on the team too. So like for him to be like that vocal piece in the locker room, turn negative while you're like turning the page and going to like a playoff run, especially if you're like a Fontu Melifonwu and like you're like looking up to him. Mm-hmm. Everybody actually in the back room that looks up to him, to have him kind of like be like, I don't know, just kind of like in his feelings about it.
He put the stipulation on it. Like he doesn't want to say it like an asshole. He doesn't want to be a dick about it, but he thinks he's the best player out there.
But everybody thinks that.
Yeah, well, he's
That's how you're supposed to think as an athlete.
Exactly.
But not in the sense like you're stirring trouble because of it. I mean,
is he stirring up trouble?
I mean, to be vocal about it to the media, yeah, I think that's stirring up a little bit of trouble.
That's who he is. He's vocal. He talks shit. He says what he says.
But that's why it's trouble. That's why I'm not saying it's trouble right now, but that's why it could boil or stem into trouble.
I like it.
I don't.
You got to be on your fucking P's and Q's. It's just be J-Rock solo Q, solo system, and barbecue. What else can you do? Nothing.
No, I don't. I don't
they know he's back. If you mess up, you got a guy waiting in the wings. You got a guy that wants to be out there, that wants to play, that has played at a high level. So you better go out there and give your damn best. You better go out there and make plays. Because if you don't, there's a playmaker that's back. There's a playmaker that's going to come in and do it.
I don't know, man. I just don't want to mess up like the attitude, the camaraderie, like everything that we watched in the Aiden Hutchinson video where he's kind of like just riling up the troops, or at least obviously Ermanni in that video. I'm assuming that's a message being spread across the locker room this week. Like I just don't want any distractions from what the goal is, and that's winning a Super Bowl. I don't want anybody to care about like losing a spot or gaining a spot. Just play your fucking ass off, and I'm hopefully he can just revert to that. And maybe this is like the first day of it. Maybe the conversation just was had recently. So maybe like, okay, maybe today be upset.
I mean, what do you want the guy to say?
Your
I'm
initial
cool
reaction,
coming off the bench? Or do you want him to be honest?
You don't have to say anything to the media. You don't have
literally
to.
do. It's your job. You have to talk to the media.
You don't have to say anything to the media about that situation. You could defer. You could say other things. You could dance around it.
That's not who he is. He's going to give you a straightforward answer.
But okay, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't give a fuck. You don't have to say to the media. You don't have to speak it out to where your teammate has to read it. Like, if you want to deliver that type of message, deliver it directly to your teammates. Deliver it directly to your coaches.
Oh, he has. I can tell you that he has.
It doesn't have to be in the media where it's a distraction for everybody and everybody's asked about it and every single opportunity they get. I don't want Fontu Melifonwu to have a good game or bad game, and after that's the
question. They were
asking
about it anyways. We've asked every single person we've had on our show
staff.
how it's worked.
They're asking the coaching staff. They're not asking Fontu Melifonwu about it.
Nobody has asked Fontu Melifonwu what's going to happen when Ceedy Duce comes back.
No, they haven't.
Pull up Fontu Melifonwu.
He just interviewed with Tim Twentyman last night.
And Tim Twentyman didn't ask him about it once.
No.
All right. I'll go back.
It doesn't need to be a distraction. That's all I'm saying. It is a distraction. Like, I know you disagree, but I'm not. You can't just dismiss it like it's not going to be a thing.
If he hasn't been asked about it, how
certain guys at certain talent levels, despite how good they are, have been like cancerous around locker room. T.O. for a perfect example. T.O. one of the best wide receivers to ever do it. T.O. can never catch another team after because he's been that vocal piece and to a point where it's negatively impacting
teams. So he's
teams.
Cancerous now. Because we all loved Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at the beginning when he was ready to go. But now he's cancerous. Now it's a problem.
Did I say he's cancerous?
You just implied it.
No, I said become cancerous. Yes.
Do you think it's going to?
I think it can. Yes, I just said that.
Okay, I don't think it's going to become that.
Absolutely think it can. I just don't think you should be. And again, I get that's who he is, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to have to like it. That doesn't mean it can't be negative. All that is true. It was remained true since the beginning of time. And you see these things go down in NFL locker rooms. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. And again, I'll go back to this part too. It's the first day it happened. Maybe it's the first time the conversation was had. You're allowed to have your blow up then. Like your initial reaction, you're allowed to be kind of like I'm saying, like, I guess I'm giving it talking about grace periods.
Yeah.
Like he also has a grace period to calm himself down and still become like the leader of the team that he was and is.
And where was it? I just saw a good comment. Chef Talks NFL. Y'all are just proving Dan's point about the vibes. So you care about the vibes more than the best players being out there.
It's either if he's the best player out there, he'd be out there, right?
He's been injured.
He's back now.
Yeah. And
obviously he's been told it's going to be a rotational situation.
Do you think he is better? Do you think he's
balling right now?
Do you think he is better than Brian Branch? Because you said you think Brian Branch would get benched for it.
No, I think a healthy CJ before the injury is better than Brian Branch.
Okay.
But if Aaron Glenn obviously is fielding Brian Branch over CJ And you also got to relate to like a situation where I guess I didn't even think about the fact that he was moved to safety so Brian Branch could play that position. It's not what I think. It seems to be what AG thinks at this point.
We're paid to talk about
and
what
AG
we think.
Clearly thinks. Well, I'm telling you what I think right now. I'm connecting the pieces for you right now.
Okay.
It's not. Listen. Brian Branch took the nickel spot from CJGJ when he first got here, bumped him to safety. So obviously, AG felt that he was better at that situation. All right. This is a locker room that you think that CJGJ is better. Cool. Obviously,
you do too.
Obviously, again, healthy CJGJ before the injury, I did, yes. But now that I'm looking the way things are playing out, if AG's not fielding him on the field over Ifantu Melifonwu or Brian Branch, then obviously I got to go with his call.
Yeah, so you don't think he's a better player than either one of them?
That's the situation, I'm going to side with AG.
Okay. I think he is. I think he's better.
And that's fine. It's going to be like a disagreement type thing. In a 2-game sample size as starters, who had a better performance, Ifantu Melifonwu or CJGJ?
If he did.
So
you think if he's a better player than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson?
I think it's possible that AG thinks that he's playing the position.
I'm asking you what
better
you
right
think.
now. I think I'm going with whatever AG thinks.
Okay. So you can't form your own opinion.
I can't form my own opinion. No.
Okay.
I gave you my opinion. If the
that's fair.
defensive coordinator who watches you guys in practice every single day, and we watch Ifantu Melifonwu cause a turnover in every single start he's had since he's come back.
So you're saying, say what you think.
I think it's possible he's a better player in the system right now. Yes, absolutely. Especially if the coach is leaning that way too.
Okay.
It wouldn't be a situation if not. We know these guys feel the best players. That's what they want to do. Jack Campbell played the freaking Sam linebacker position, which he's never played his entire career leading up to the NFL because they wanted to get the best players on the field.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the philosophy they want. They want the best players on the field. If he's not on the field, whether it be from just like tempering him coming back from the injury or him just not being up to par with what the other performance these guys put up, then it is what it is. For us to sit here and throw fits about it, I can't sit here and pretend like we know better than AG at this point.
I was just asking for your opinion, and you kept
My
going back
opinion
to
is
AG.
yes. I think AG thinks Ifantu Melifonwu's a better player than him right now.
All right.
I'm sorry that upsets you. That's the way I look at it.
It upsets me how you're saying it.
Well, I'm sorry. That's the way
My
I observe
opinion is yes. I think AG thinks this. Like, say what you
Well,
think.
if AG thinks it, then I think I'm going to side with whatever AG says. I don't know why you need to hear it 15 other times. Do we have any callers, JB? I did put the wrong phone number in. But I guess that's the way I'm assessing it. And then, again, also look back to the offseason, too, with the AG or CJGJ stuff, in terms of being, like, cancerous or something you may not or want on your team. Like, the reason why he came here to Detroit is he had a prior relationship with Anthony Glenn.
Aaron.
I know, I always do that. But that's the reason why he came here, right?
Yeah.
Like the number one guy in the market, he's supposed to be like a top tier free agent. No one wanted him.
See,
Nobody
this is
wanted a guy.
crazy to me that you're backtracking so hard on this guy because of one statement.
How am I backtracking?
Were you excited when we signed him?
Yeah.
Did you think he was one of the best players in the league? One of the best players in his position, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, so why are you backtracking on that now? Oh, he's cancerous. Oh, nobody wanted him. The only reason he came here was because of
First and foremost, I did not say he was cancerous.
Because of one statement?
First and foremost, I did not say he's cancerous. But I think this could turn to something that is cancerous. This is the way these things start.
So now nobody wanted him.
Nobody did want him. What do you mean?
Okay, man.
Smitty, what do you mean?
You're
Who
just
who
I
in
feel like
Detroit
you're
Lions in
backtracking
competition to
real
sign him
hard.
for?
I don't know. I'm not a GM sitting in
Why did he
rooms
sign
with
a
guys.
one-year deal?
You don't think he would have signed with any? You don't think anybody else would have signed him?
No, that's why he came here.
Wow.
He didn't get the market value he wanted. What are you talking about, Spencer?
You don't think anybody else would have signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? He just would have been sitting on a couch if the Lions didn't swoop in and gracefully give him a contract.
Nobody wanted to pay him his
is
market value
crazy.
at the position. That's not crazy. That is fact. That is how it went down. He came to Detroit by a surprise.
What's the
Philadelphia
market value
Eagles,
for a nickel
who quite
quarterback?
literally went to a Super Bowl with him that didn't re-sign him.
Yeah, because they are in cap hell.
He's fighting his own players in practice. They talked about it the first time week he came back.
So you don't like him anymore. You don't like him anymore.
Why is it got to be I don't like him?
Because you keep piling on it like he's not a good player. You don't want him on this team.
There's nothing to do with how I feel about him personally. This is just looking at the track record as it is.
Okay.
These are statements and facts that
So
have taken
you think
place.
this team is better off without him is basically what you're getting towards. Because
No.
nobody wanted
Because
him, because he's fighting players in practice, because of this quote he made. That's what you're saying to me right now.
If Aaron Glenn is starting Ifantu Melifonwu and Brian Branch over him, then quite honestly, that may be the answer.
You don't think it's
not a situation of me not liking him. It's not a situation of me calling him cancerous. It's just looking at the track record of what it is when it comes down to
You don't
Chauncey
think a
Gardner-Johnson.
factor of this at all is his first game coming back from a pectoral injury that he came back from fast. You don't think that's a factor at all of him not being on this team, not getting that starting role right away?
Fonte Melifonwu has not been blowing out.
Answer the question I just asked you, please.
Is Fonte Melifonwu not been blowing out?
Yes, he has.
I think that's a bigger factor.
Okay, do you what?
I think that's
will
a
you
factor
answer
as
the
well.
question that I said?
I think partly, yeah.
Okay, so that is a factor.
Like he's gonna see the field, but as you said it in the quote itself, a rotation, and he's obviously upset about it. Meaning he feels that he's up to par. Like he feels that he's able to perform at the best level that he
Yeah,
can.
I just can't believe you turn your back on a guy like
Well,
this.
you're
man.
spinning it to me, turning my back.
You literally
it's
just
not
said,
turning my
oh,
back.
Look at the quote he made. Nobody wanted him. He's fighting players in practice. Earlier in the season, what were we saying when we talked about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson?
That's not me
we
turning
love
my
that
back.
shit. We love that fight. We love that aggression. We love him talking that shit.
No, I love him talking that shit. I don't like him fighting his own players in practice.
Who did he fight on the Lions team?
I don't even know.
Amon-Ra
this shit-
fought his own player in practice. Do you not like that?
It's a different situation. brother.
How?
What do you mean how? He's literally been suspended by his team.
If you fight your
He
player
literally
in
hit
practice.
the open market as one of the top tier players in the league at the position, and everyone was like,
So now
don't know.
you're scary
He
on
literally-
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
No, because I don't know why you're trying to make it. That's not the conversation.
That's like
Ceedy.
what you're saying to
No,
me.
you're trying.
What do you
You're
mean
trying
I'm
to spin it to be as scary. No,
I'm not spinning anything.
No, you are spinning it to that because no one said that. I'm not saying. I'm not saying any. I'm not telling you he's cancerous. I'm just saying the signs, the track record does point to that situation.
Okay,
and
so
if
you're
you
not
sit
saying
here
you're not
and
saying
it's been like, oh, you don't like him anymore.
Okay,
Oh,
no,
that's
fine.
That's quite literally.
You're not saying he's cancerous. You're saying it's really obvious that he might be.
Yes.
Okay,
Abso-fucking-lutely.
that's just a weak position to have.
How is it a weak position to have?
Be like, oh, he could be this thing.
Has he been suspended by his own team?
Yeah.
Did he hit the open market and everyone put their hands
Yeah.
up? Did he go to a Super Bowl with a team
Yes.
that's still trying to contend to win a Super
Yes.
Bowl? Did they re-sign him?
No.
So how are there not signs?
Did you want him?
Hold
Did you
on,
want
let
him
me
starting
finish.
on this
Let
team?
me finish. How are there not signs pointing to that
There
being the
are,
case?
but did you want him on this
Okay,
team?
that's-
Did you
that's
want
it.
him on this team?
I was happy
Were you
when we got
happy
him.
when they signed him?
Yes.
Did you think he was the best secondary player at the beginning of the year that we had?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're just off of that completely because he's coming back from a pectoral injury earlier.
Is that off of it completely, or witnessing a Fonte Melifonwu ball out of his fucking mind?
I don't know. I just feel like you're going
Is it
off
off of that completely, or witnessing Brian Branch play
And
pretty
now
well
that,
too?
now that if he's back and playing well,
Like it's not
you're just
off
digging
the
up all of his bad things and piling it on top of him. That's what you're
Yeah.
doing to him right now.
Yes.
Is now that if he's out there playing, you're saying, okay, yeah, he's a great
He
leader.
put
He
Chris-
hits hard. He's a great playmaker.
he put the quote up one more time?
But he does all of this too, and now you're putting that in them. That wasn't a factor in your thought process when he was on the team, when he
What
was
do you mean?
starting,
It
when we
is a
first
factor.
signed.
It's always
When we
been a
first
factor.
signed him,
It's
you
always
never
been a
brought up
factor.
any of that. I don't want him on this team because
Yeah,
he does this. I don't want him to start because he does this.
Hold on.
You
I never said I didn't
that.
want him on the team. Stop putting words in my mouth. Like that's why I'm getting upset at this
That
argument.
was never a
you,
factor
You
for
don't
you.
like him anymore? You don't want him on the team? I'm not saying any of those fucking words.
That
None
was
of those
never
things
a
that came out of
factor
my
for you,
mouth.
though.
He's never been here long enough to have it be a factor. And yes, it would be a factor. That's been discussed when he was signed. That's the reason why he came here.
And so you were worried about all of that when we signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You're like, I don't know.
No.
Look at all this stuff.
And a damaged secondary, I'm taking all day, over every fucking 24/7.
Yeah,
Don't get
and
me
now
wrong.
you're bringing it back up when he's trying to make his comeback.
Bringing it back up because obviously he's upset and speaking to the media, talking about if I don't get my shine, the vet's here, it's up.
He literally just said, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. I'm not trying, but I want to play.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Brother,
I want to play.
I'm a vet. I'm going to give you a grace period.
Yeah, read
But
the
after
first
that,
part of it.
it's up.
Getting into a rotation.
Was the second part not said?
You just read only
Was the second part
and
not said?
Read the whole quote.
I read the whole quote. I know what the
You
quote
just
is.
read the second part.
But does that completely dismiss the second part?
No, but not reading the first part is
I'm the vet.
disingenuous.
I'm going to give you a grace period, but after that, it's up.
Okay, and I'll read. I'm cool with it.
Okay.
But I'd like to say this. I don't want to sound like selfish or an asshole.
I'm the vet. I'm going to give you a grace period, but you're
Like, yeah, if
essentially
we
giving the
cherry
team.
pick the part of the quote that fits our narrative, it'll
Bro,
work.
it's not cherry picking. It was said. It was said.
And so was the first part.
That doesn't dismiss what was said.
And what was said at that end does you're
Literally
arguing the
does
same
not
thing.
dismiss the fact that he says, I'm going to give you.
I'm
he's
saying
giving the
read the
team.
whole quote.
Brother, I don't give a fuck. The second part was said, and the second part is not good news.
So the second part dismisses the first part, but the first part doesn't dismiss the second part.
Why is it dismissed? Why is anything just being dismissed?
I don't know. You're
You're over there like twisting shit, spinning
How
shit.
am I twisting
Nothing is
shit?
being
You
dismissed.
literally just read
Nothing
the
is-
part that fits your narrative and then forgot
There's
the
no
top
narrative,
part.
brother. It was said. I don't understand. Like, there's no narrative
So
in
was
it
the
whatsoever.
first part not said?
Okay, hold on. All right, put it up, Chris. Let's do this. I don't. This is beyond stupid. If I'm being honest with you, getting into rotation, I'm cool with it. But how can I say this? I don't want to sound like I'm selfish or an asshole, but I ain't get back early to be in rotation. The vet back. I'm gonna give you a grace period, but after that, it's up.
Yeah.
You're giving the team an ultimatum. You're giving your coaches an ultimatum. You have your brothers in that locker room with you. You're making them feel some type of way. What do you mean it's up? What does that mean? What's this grace period?
It means he's the dog.
If I'm outperforming you, by the way, to the coaching staff too, if this kid's outperforming you to our standards of what we believe you can produce, by the way, AG's been with you a long, long time, from high school to pros, then that's the decision being made.
It means
What's the
he's
ultimatum?
dog.
What does
For
it's
me,
up mean?
It means it's up for him. It means the best player, he thinks he's the best player. He wants to be out there. He wants to be out there playing. He thinks he can make those plays. He thinks he can make those hits. And like I said, if the best way to prove that is to go out there and do it.
Yes. Do it. Don't talk it. Don't put it in the media. Don't make it where it's a conversation for other players to have to answer these questions to. They're just out there doing their job. They're just out there trying to win games. It shouldn't be a distraction to
You
a
don't think he wants to? He wants
Huh?
to do the same thing.
Okay, then don't make this a thing.
This is what he does. He talks. We know that.
And nobody wanted him in the offseason. Clearly, it may look like this may be the reason. This may be part of it.